Hey, Harry P from the Driftless Homestead. Thanks for showing up today. We got some exciting stuff happening. Check it out. Here we are hauling out hauling out ash logs out of the woods again, and we found this tree, which I can tell by the wood that it's a dead elm tree. And look at all of these oyster mushrooms that we found on here. There's got to be 5 or 6 pounds of oyster mushrooms on here, just free for the taking. So you don't always just get out in the woods and do things. You don't always have to be out just looking for mushrooms, or just looking for morels, because there's all kinds of edibles out there. One of the key features to an oyster mushroom is that the gills go down the stem. So we got another load to run, and then we're going to go pick up a trailer, and then we'll come back and pick all these. Today we're out here in the rain. Going to harvest some oyster mushrooms that we found yesterday. Just one of those things. Got my brother on the camera here. It's unbelievable, you get out in the woods and walk around, the stuff you can find. Edibles, foraging. The size of that. Beautiful. Here's the little kitten caboodle. Big tough. This thing quite heavy too. Okay, so now that we've got the big harvest done, the big oyster mushroom harvest done, that we found yesterday and picked today, raining like heck, not the best case scenario for harvesting mushrooms, cleaning mushrooms. Here at the hunting cabin, we don't have conditioned airspace, so it's not even the best for drying mushrooms at this time of year, especially with the humidity just being so, because of the rain, just being so moist. So we are going to try, I'm going to get the mushrooms, try to dry them off so the water doesn't destroy them. But then I'm going to cut them up into some type of usable chunk, put them on the drying mats, get the fans on them. We'll get them somewhat the way there, and then hopefully, because some of my fans are run off USB, we could continue to dry them on the way home. I'll have conditioned air inside the van, so that'll help dry them on the way home, and then we'll set them out overnight and see if we can get them dry. We found way too many to eat for a meal, so we're going to dry them and we're going to be able to use them for later meals, just like the morels or the shiitakes. When I get home, I'm going to start fruiting the shiitake logs as well, and I'll keep you guys up to date on that, because we also have more shiitake logs to plug, and it'll be kind of a series, where I'll go through the plugging process. Then we'll fruit the logs by soaking them in water, cold water overnight, and then standing the logs up in my little fruiting area, and a week later we'll have all kinds of shiitakes. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed. It's always a you can always do things the right way by the book and everything, and sometimes not end up with the results you want. So let's get to cutting these up and get them on drying. All right. First things first, we're gonna pull this out. I'm gonna cut this harder piece off the bottom to start with, and then just like the shiitakes, I think I'm just gonna cut these in half. And then if we want to break them down further on the day we're gonna eat them, we can. Actually, because I got so many, I'm gonna cut the stems off, the larger ones as well. Now I talked to a guy last year who got a bunch of these, and he told me how much butter he went through to fry them up, and he said he couldn't fry any more up, so what they did was they froze them, cleaned them up and froze them. And I don't know about doing that, because when you freeze things, the water expands and then it destroys the cells. That's why we can't currently, we're not freezing human beings when they're sick. And then figuring out how to cure them and bringing them back, because when your body freezes, you know, if you ever see anybody got frostbite, it causes an amazing amount of cell damage to do that. I think if you guys are on Facebook, my brother is, he said that people, all kinds of people are posting that they're finding these mushrooms and picking them at this time of year in Wisconsin. And I'm sure wherever you are, there's different things you can forage for. I know when I lived in North Dakota, there wasn't any mushrooms because there was no moisture, but so to speak, I mean, there might have been stuff that I wasn't looking for that was out there, but certainly was a lot of walleyes to forage for. Pheasants too. Just trying to figure the best way to get, oh yeah, most of this black stuff off. Now, I know I said with the morels not to worry about it, but it's a little different situation with the morels because they're so, they got those deep grooves, you know, so if you tried to get something out of those deep grooves, they would just fall apart. So, with these, it appears that I can take this paper toweling and wipe some of this off that's not stuck on there too bad. Maybe I'll, just like the morels, be able to get more off when they're harder. These are just so full of water because it really had been raining for all week long. Yesterday was the first break in the rain. Could have used that a few weeks ago to get the morels to come out, that's for sure. I took a class on the well, it was growing mushrooms class at Field and Forest Products, because I wanted to learn more about growing shiitakes commercially, and as it turned out, you know, the class was more for beginners as far as doing the shiitakes, and I had already did my own shiitakes for a couple of years. But what we did do, because it was about growing mushrooms, is they had not only did you get to do your own shiitake log, which I declined because I had 100 or so at home already, but you got to do your an oyster, and I'm not really that big into oyster mushrooms because they don't have, it's not like a robust flavor that you get from other wild mushrooms or other mushrooms in general. They tend to pick up a lot of flavor of what you cook them in: butter, garlic. Look at this one. This one came off in one piece. That is amazing. Anyway, so I was, we got to do our own oyster mushrooms in straw in a bag, so I wasn't too into it, so I wasn't going to do it, and then the lady said, come on, you know, you're not doing these currently. So I did it, and I grew oyster mushrooms in my house, and I ate them. I like mushrooms. And I know a lot of people grow oyster mushrooms commercially, just regular oysters, but then they do a lot of the kings or the blues or what have you oysters as well. So I'm going to continue to cut these up, and I'm going to get the fans on them. I don't want to make this too long a video. Not everybody's into mushrooms, so, or wild foraging, so I'll cut it off here. Thanks for showing up today. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and share with your friends.